from the... She'll read from the book. It's okay. I'll just have the thing for everybody. She'll read it from the book.
Day 26, magically transform mistakes into blessings. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Oprah Winfrey, 1954, media personality and businesswoman. Every single mistake is a blessing in disguise. Today's magical practice will prove it because you're about to discover that there are actually untold blessings hidden within every mistake. A child makes many mistakes while learning how to ride a bike or write, and we don't give it a second thought because we know that through their mistakes, they will learn and eventually master what they're trying to do. So, why is it that adults are so hard on themselves when they make a mistake? The same rule that applies to children also applies to you. We all make mistakes, and if we didn't make them, we'd never learn anything, and we wouldn't grow any smarter or any wiser. We have the freedom to make our own choices, and that means we have the freedom to make mistakes. Mistakes can hurt, but if we don't learn from the mistakes we've made, the pain we've suffer from it has been for nothing. In fact, by the law of attraction, we will make the same mistake over and over again until the consequences hurt us so much that we finally learn from it. It's the very reason why mistakes hurt, so that we do learn from them and don't make them repeatedly.
It's very important. We as humans are not perfect as of now, and perfection is something which is probably not even achieved till the time even if you're lying on your deathbed. So mistakes will happen. There is nothing wrong in making a mistake. Human है, इंसान है, फीलिंग्स हैं, गलतियां होंगी, कोई ऐसी बड़ी बात नहीं है. नहीं भी हो तो ये नहीं सोचना कि नहीं मेरे से गलती नहीं हुई, होनी चाहिए. नो, if it happens, it's okay. Just make sure कि उससे हमें क्या lesson मिला, what did we learn, what was the wisdom, and then accept it so that it does not repeat in the future. It's not कि जो बड़े बड़े गुरु होते हैं या those very very learned people, they have also made mistakes and got to that level, and even at that level also they sometimes make a mistake. It's okay. But the beauty of their mistake is they willingly accept their mistake, and they actually ridicule themselves for the mistake and make it so humorous. हमें लगता है यार ये तो बहुत ही पहुंचा हुआ आदमी, because they are so consciously aware that they have realized that this is our mistake made by us. It's okay, let's accept it. Mistakes human hai, mistakes can happen. You don't need to be so hard on yourself for anything. मतलब ग्रेटिट्यूड में भी अगर कुछ 19-21 हो गया, ठीक है यार, समझ लो, take the learning, take the lesson, learn the lesson, ensure that it's not repeated in future, and that's it. Accept it. There is no harm. It's not going to do any harm if you accept it in the right manner. And that right manner is being very, very clear. Okay, I think I made a mistake. What is it that I can learn from it? And then move on.
To learn from a mistake, we first have to own it, and this is where many people can become undone because they often blame someone else for their mistake. Let's consider the scenario of being pulled over by the police for speeding and being given a speeding ticket. Instead of taking responsibility for the fact that we were speeding, we blame the police because they were hiding in the bushes on the highway around a bend. We couldn't see them. They had a radar gun, and so we didn't stand a chance. But the mistake was ours because we were the one who chose to speed. The problem with blaming other people for our mistake is that we will still suffer the pain and consequences of our mistake, but we didn't learn from it. And so, bingo, we'll attract making the same mistake again. You are human. You will make mistakes, and it's one of the most beautiful things about being human. But you must learn from your mistakes. Otherwise, your life will have a lot of unnecessary pain. How do you learn from a mistake? Gratitude. No matter how bad something may seem, there are always many things to be grateful for. When you look for as many things you can to be grateful for in a mistake, you magically transform the mistake into blessings. Mistakes attract more mistakes, and blessings attract more blessings. Which would you prefer? Today, think about a mistake you have made in your life. It doesn't matter whether it was a big or small mistake, but choose one that still hurts when you think about it. Maybe you lost your temper with a person close to you, and the relationship hasn't been the same since. Maybe you put blind faith in another person and got burned. Maybe you told a white lie to protect someone, and because of it, you ended up in a difficult situation. You might have chosen the cheaper option on something, and it all went wrong and ended up costing you a whole lot more. You might have thought you were making the right decision about something, but it completely backfired on you. Once you've chosen a mistake to magically transform into blessings, look for the things to be grateful for to help you. There are two questions you can ask yourself. What did I learn from the mistake? What are the good things that came out of the mistake? The most important things to be grateful for about every mistake are the things you learned from it. And no matter what the mistake, there are always many good things that came out of it and altered your future for the better. Think this through very carefully and see if you can find a total of 10 blessings to be grateful for. Every blessing you find has magical power. Write out your list in a gratitude journal or type them on a computer. Let's take the example of being caught speeding by a police car and receiving a fine. 1. I'm grateful to the police for wanting to protect me from harming myself because, after all, that was all they were trying to do. 2. I'm grateful to the police because if I'm honest with myself, I was thinking about other things and I wasn't concentrating on the road. 3. I'm grateful to the police because it was foolish to put myself at risk speeding with a tire that needed to be replaced. 4. I'm grateful to the police for the wake up call. Being pulled over did affect me, and it will make me watch my speed and drive more carefully in the future. 5. I'm grateful to the police because somehow I had a wild idea that I could speed without getting caught and without putting myself in danger. The seriousness of the police made me face up to the fact that I was putting both myself and others in serious danger. 6. I'm grateful to the police because if I think about my own family being put in danger by other speeding drivers, then I definitely want the police to stop speeding drivers. 7. I'm really grateful to the police for the work they do in trying to ensure the safety of every person and family on the roads. 8. I'm grateful to the police. They must see heartbreaking situations every day, and all they're trying to do is protect my life and my family's life. 9. I'm grateful to the police for making sure that I arrived home safely and walked through the door to my family as I usually do. 10. I'm grateful to the police because of all the possible consequences that could have stopped me from my speeding. The police pulling me over was the least harmful consequence, and it could have been the biggest blessing of my life. I would strongly urge you to take any mistakes you've made in your life that you still feel bad about, and in your own time, follow the magnificent and magical practice. Think about it. Through one mistake, you have the power to bring many blessings. What else guarantees dividends like that? Magical practice number 26. Magically transform mistakes into blessings. 1. Count your blessings. Make a list of 10 blessings. Write why you're grateful. Reread your list. And at the end of each blessing, say thank you, thank you, thank you, and feel as grateful for that blessing as you can. 2. Choose one mistake you made in your life. 3. Find a total of 10 blessings you're grateful for as a result of making that mistake and write them down. 4. To help you find blessings, you can ask yourself the questions: what did I learn from the mistake? And what are the good things that came out of the mistake? 5. Just before you go to sleep tonight, hold your magic rock in one hand and say the magic words: thank you for the best thing that happened during the day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for Ruchi for reading it for all of us. Any questions regarding today's chapter or today's practice? See, mistakes happen. We are human. But how do we turn our mistakes and learn the lesson and still, convert it into blessing? That's the fantastic part about this chapter. कि गलती तो हो गई है, अब उससे लेसन भी लर्न करना है और उसको एक ब्लेसफुल और एक ब्लेसिंग वाली सिचुएशन में कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है. It's fantastically put in this chapter. Because होता है, sometimes you might just shout at somebody and then you feel कि यार मैंने क्या कर दिया, and then you work upon it and then write 10 blessings and how is it that you got it into a positive state and what are the blessings or the good things that happened. Haji, anybody wants to ask anything, Any sharing, any gray areas, anything from yesterday's practice of limiting beliefs? कुछ तो कोई बोल ही सकता है यार.
I think everything is clear.
Great. Today I have a small some details regarding, we'll dwell more onto mood shifters. Now, what exactly are mood shifters? Since we did the feelings chart, wherein we had those above the line feelings of love, gratitude, hope, enthusiasm, and we had below the line feelings wherein, it's fear, anger, boredom, all those dark feelings and white feelings. Everything we are is a state of our body and mind. जो भी हमारा बिहेवियर आता है ना, वो हमारे बॉडी और माइंड के कॉम्बिनेशन से आता है. So, in order to shift the mood, you can either do it through the body or you do it through the mind. Body में आ जाता है all physiological changes. Once you change the physiology of the body, the mood changes. And second is when you work with the mind. Let's do a small demo. For example, if you are feeling sad, how would your body language be? How would your facial expression be? Can I be happy in that face? I can be if I make a conscious choice. But then yes, that involves a conscious awareness state to change my physiology. That is when we see, we can work on both areas or we can work on one area or both simultaneously. It doesn't matter. But we need to understand that if we are working on the body, what we are doing is we are using the physiology of the body or the posture or the body language, the physiological movements of the body to change your mood, because you are in that consciously aware state where you want to change. So वो एक assumption है that you are aware. If you are not aware, फिर उसमें हम mood shifters नहीं use कर पाएंगे because वो awareness नहीं. So mood shifters can only be used either on the body or on the mind when you are consciously aware that yes, you are in below the line feelings and you need to make that switch or that shift. So if that is done on the body, it is through the physiology. But if it is done through the mind, then it is done with what we call as the dose of the mind or the dose of the brain. Now, what is the dose of the brain? The brain produces 4 happy chemicals. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. This is the dose. So any activity, now these are 4 different types. The dopamine is the reward chemical, wherein it is, goal based, task oriented. छोटे छोटे goals आप बनाते हो, उनकी achievement आ जाती है, तो the brain will release that dopamine. Whereas, oxytocin is more of the love chemical, as they say. You know, when you hug or cuddle with your kid or with your pet, you will get that love chemical. You know, the third is serotonin. That's basically called the mood stabilizer. इसमें क्या है, when you work on the body in terms of meditation, breathing exercises, normal exercises, any games, you know, eating also works on the serotonin. So if you have that dark chocolate and if you have those carbohydrates, it gets on to the serotonin in the body. And finally we have the endorphins, which is mainly the painkillers, which is like, you know, again, chocolate, exercising, and using essential oils or watching a funny movie. So what we are doing is we are using it to make the dose. So that the brain releases the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, and the endorphins. How we do that? That's the catch. Now, when I sat down, I was just making a list. So I came down with good 24, 25 of them. But everything has to be specific to what suits you. I can list down. I'll share the list. You know, it can be eating chocolates. Specifically, it said dark chocolates. It helps. Listening to good music. You can always have your final playlist ready and, you know, use that and keep it handy whenever you're in a wrong mood, and just in that mood switch and using a listening to a music playlist. Watching comedy shows, watching Kapil Sharma or any comedy movie, Mr. Bean, anything. It can, you know, singing, walking, breathing exercises. You know, sometimes just pampering yourself also really matters. You know, going in for that spa treatment, going in for that pedicure, that manicure, that also really helps. Exercises or, you know, a favorite game you like Thapar, for him, tennis could be a good mood shifter. But yeah, then that depends whether he has that access to tennis at that time. But yeah, that's also a mood shifter. Guided meditations, laughter exercises, massage, the essential oils, aroma candles, you know, playing with your pets, if you have any, or, you know, playing playing with small kids. They can be one of the biggest mood shifters. Dancing, going for a walk, jogging in the park, you know, physical intimacy. It could be a good book read. It could be a good motivational video. You know, it could be just clapping, making those physiological movements and just, you know, just making that switch happen. It could be food, spicy food, especially, you know, you have a meal and you say, yaar, maza aa gaya, soul food kha liya. So anything. The concept is, या आप body की physiological movement को change करोगे when you are. So the first basic underlying fact is you need to be consciously aware कि मैं एक negative emotion में हूँ और मुझे वहां से change होना है. अगर वो नहीं है तो this knowledge will not help. Once you are aware that this shift has to be done, then depending on how you want to work on it, it is absolutely, you know, specific to everyone. One thing can work for one thing cannot work for the other one. But there are only two categories where you work. Either you work with the dose of the brain, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, and the endorphins, or you work on the body with your physiological movements. You can use one at a time, you can use two at a time, you can use just the physiological one, you can use just the mind one, you can use both. Absolutely, for you know, depending upon the individual. Yeah, we're open for questions.
Arjun, I have a question. Like all these mood shifters that you mentioned, like, okay, day before, you know, I was in a foul mood. मुझे पता है कि I'm in a foul mood and I really want to switch. But these are conscious. I'm conscious about my current mood and I want to go above the line. But suddenly, you know, अंदर से नहीं होगा, like you would want to listen to music because you're so like how do I explain? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, you're full of negativity for that person or that environment or that thing that
you don't want to listen to music at that time, or because you're in a foul mood, you don't want to meditate. नहीं होता नहीं है. So कुछ इसमें instant.
You can use any one what suits you at that time. Like if I am in a very negative mood wherein I am getting very angry and the rage is high, the first thing I will do is go in front of the mirror and blow out 7 times. See, यहाँ पे एक बड़ी basic सी चीज है that we are consciously aware कि हम कहाँ हैं and we want to shift. That choice we are making. If we do not want to make that shift, be in that moment 4-5 minute अपना गुस्सा निकाल लो, कोई there is no harm in that. Just go in front of the mirror, अपना गुस्सा निकाल लो. Body, see, negativity अगर body के अंदर है, अगर वो निकल जाएगी, it is better. Get that negative. First, be very, very clear whether you want to make that choice. Now, since you decided that yes, I want to make that choice, but you say कि no, मेरा ये अभी negative emotion है, मुझे ये पूरा live करना है अभी थोड़ी देर. So that means that negativity wants to get out of your system. So first you will have to release that negativity. That, you know, you can just go in front of the mirror and blurt out whatever is there, shout on top of your voice, get that negativity out. Then use the mood shift.
You're right. It's important. Negativity बाहर निकालना. You're right.
यार रोज हम अपने आप को साफ करते हैं या नहाते हैं या कपड़े धोते हैं, क्या करते हैं? We just cleaning. We're just cleaning our body. We're just cleaning our soul. We're just cleaning our emotions. Nothing else more than cleaning.
what I try to do is I try to, you know, maybe it's, I don't know, but it works for me. I try to look down on that person. I think that, yeah, it's,
On your wife also.
मतलब
Shame on you.
कहाँ personal ले रहे? So I look down कि भाई उसमें he's not capable. You know, I am.
He's not worth your gussa.
He's not worth my gussa, and he's not capable of understanding or this environment, or maybe if it's the environment, this environment is not understanding. I'm way far superior than these circumstances or this person, and if he's not able to understand me, or he's, then it's you know, I'm far above this. I need to keep my cool. So I try to do that as a.
It's very personal.
Yeah.
How you can take it.
This is
like I fume and I keep it
This is
inside.
going to be very, very personal. It's going to be, you know, made to order for everybody. What works for me will work for me. Zaruri nahi hai, it'll work for others. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
It is strictly made.
I mean, before, you know, getting into book reading and, you know, book reading of this book or the book which we did last month, a lot of circumstances in my life I've faced where when I've applied this practice, before I actually got to know what mood shifters are, I always applied this practice where I thought this is a mad environment and it's not worth my time. And this is a mad person, is he or she is not worth my time. So just say what you have to say, and whatever she or the environment is telling you, shut your ears. और एक कान से सुनो, दूसरे से निकालो. That's it.
कान से निकालना है, कान से निकाल दो. You want to blurt it out in front of the mirror, वो निकाल दो. If you want to write about that person, write it out. Anything. Channelize the way, give way for the negativity to go away. That's it. बाहर निकालने का तो हमें बताना पड़ेगा ना, ये कहाँ से निकलना है. नया धोबी आया घर में, हमने उसको कपड़े दे दिए, भाई धो दे, साफ कर दे. वो पूछेगा ना भैया कहाँ साफ करना है, डिटर्जेंट कहाँ पड़ा है, कैसे, मतलब कहाँ पे मैं साफ करूंगा. वो बताना तो पड़ेगा ना उसको, भैया यहाँ से है, यहाँ कर, यहाँ तेरा जितना पानी है निकलता रहेगा, साफ करके चले जाओ. या भला.
Arjun, if you're writing down the negative thoughts, aren't you multiplying it or making it even more stronger?
You're writing blessings for them. No?
I didn't get that. Sorry.
मैं नहीं कह रहा कि जो हम उसको बोल रहे हैं, हम उसको गालियां दे रहे हैं, तूने ये कर दिया, तूने वो कर दिया. अगर लिखना है तो ब्लेसिंग्स फॉर्म में लिखना पड़ेगा.
Okay.
So how do you how can you convert a negative into a positive? 26 days से तो वही है ना, नेगेटिव को पॉजिटिव कैसे लिखना है. बट हाँ, नेगेटिविटी को एक बार रिलीज करना है. Even if you see, now this is not exactly in the book, but yeah, if you want to write out, just write the negative करके जब सारा भड़ास निकल जाए, एंड में थैंक यू उसको पढ़ लिया, कर लिया, उसको फाड़ के डस्टबिन में फेंक दिया, कहानी खत्म. Pull back your consciousness from that. You paid your gratitude for that.
Got it. Thanks.
Not what the book says, yeah, but yeah, practically you can do that. Because if you are getting the negativity out of your system, so साफ करोगे तो गंद तो निकलेगा ना. If there is dirt on the skin, if I use a shampoo or a soap, the dirt is going to come out. So let the dirt come out. At the end, since you are aware कि तूने, जब हमने अपने आप को हल्का कर लिया, एंड में हमने थैंक यू तो किया, अपनी तरह से क्लियर किया, पेज को निकाला, फाड़ा, जलाया, cleared it from the system.
Right.
Because you need to tell your body how do you want to get it out of the system. It's very important to clean. Very important to clean. Especially the negative emotions we have against. जितने ये नेगेटिव इमोशन जो अंदर लोग रखते रहते हैं, they all become so rotten inside you that they give birth to so many problems like cancer and everything. They're all just those negative feelings which we've kept inside. You need to clean that.
Right.
Anybody else has any doubts, gray areas, who wants to discuss something? I hope mood shifter सबको समझ आ गए. Whatever works for you, just go for it. सबसे पहले consciously aware करो. आपने बॉडी की फिजियोलॉजी पे वर्क करना है, बॉडी की फिजियोलॉजी पे कर लो. आपको लगता है मेरे को माइंड के डोज पे काम करना है, माइंड के डोज पे काम कर लो. दोनों पे इकट्ठे करना है, दोनों पे इकट्ठे कर लो. There is no hard and fast rule. It is absolutely made to order. But the main thing is you need to be consciously aware. And yes, you need to be clear that you have made that choice, and I want to switch or change this negative emotion, below the line emotion, dark emotion, and get on to a positive, above the line, white emotion. You will figure out. जब आप इस पे वर्क करोगे ना, this is where a lot of practice is needed. Like Hema said कि गुस्सा आता है, मेरे को नहीं अभी वो ठीक होना, होता है, नॉर्मल है. उसको अलग तरीके से निकालो, सिस्टम से निकालो, अंदर ना रखो. Just imagine keeping your waste of the house in your kitchen day in, day out. You are not cleaning that. Can you go to your kitchen after 1 day, 2 day, 1 week? ऐसे जाओगे, इतनी स्मेल आ रही है और इतने सालों से इतनी नेगेटिविटी, इतनी वो अंदर ही अंदर भरी हुई है, उसको क्लीन तो करना पड़ेगा. Start with whatever is right now coming up in front of you. उससे शुरू कर लो. इतने सालों का जो जमा हुआ है, it's not going to be cleaned in 1 year, but yeah, let's start one thing at the other. It's, with practice, you'll get onto it.
Yeah, I'd just like to share, apologies for missing this chapter, but I remember when I did this chapter last month, it was magical. It was like a cue, from the universe to me. I had done this chapter, and the same day, there was somebody who put an allegation on me. And I couldn't sleep. I had somebody important in my life, they put an allegation on me, which was quite big. And I couldn't sleep. I was like, how that person could do that to me, and how that person, and then this thing, that means he has so much, kept thinking negative. And then in the evening, I think about 6-7 o'clock, I thought, okay, what's the homework for this book? And then this was the chapter we had done that day. And it was such a magical moment. It was very tough initially to find, I think in this chapter, we have to find positives for that person, is it? Something like that. What do we learn from the mistake and how good things come out of the mistake? Yeah. So I started, analyzing that, and then I started giving thanks, like you said, Arjun, to that person, that situation. And it took me about 5-10 minutes. It was about 6:30 in the evening. It took me 10 minutes, and I slept after that. So 6:30 in the evening, no time to sleep, I slept. I got up at 8:30, and everything was washed. Everything I was going on in my head about, the anxieties, I'm going to face that person again. Everything was gone. And I was so grateful that person is in my life. Such a 180 thing happened after that. It was unbelievable. So that's, it is tough. It is very tough. Like Arjun said, everybody has situations and people which, if not which you can't thank easily. And you can't be grateful. You can't find a thing to be grateful for. But believe me, it's very important for your own self. Like Arjun said, you can't keep garbage in your dustbin. And once you've released it, it's so much peaceful. It's unbelievable. And I meet that person almost once a week, and that person has said so many bad things about me. And I used to think, how can I get over that? And when I meet that person, almost once a week, I meet him, greet him as if like nothing has happened ever. It is so good communication and conversation I have with that person, which I would have never had if wouldn't have done this practice. So yeah, thank you.
Great, excellent. Anybody else wants to say anything? Any gray area?
Yeah, Arjun, one question.
Sure.
So if there are negative emotions about, you hurt or something, and you feel that, if one should, how do you take it out? Like, how do you take it out? Sometimes you avoid because you don't want confrontation, or, unnecessary because you're not sure if you've thought about it correctly, but it is in your mind. Then what do you do? Like, how do you take it out? Is there a way to talk to the higher self and clear it? Can you talk to the higher?
No, see, I'll tell you. There are 3-4 things. We are not confronting the person.
Okay.
We are working on ourselves.
Okay. So yeah, how do you cleanse that about yourself?
So now, if you want to cleanse your thought, if you are angry in a situation where you are full of that rage, you are full of that anger, you can go and you need to vent out. Now, vent out can be by just, this is a very important psychological technique of cleansing the body. Okay. This was taught to me by one of the very renowned clinical psychologists of CMC Ludhiana.
Okay.
Wherein just get on to a bathroom or a closed space where there is nobody and full volume pe music laga do and just start speaking. You cannot use any language, and whatever you say should not make any sense. You know how it goes.
Pick any? Sorry, say that again. Do not
Should
take
not-
any.
You cannot use any language,
Hmm.
and it should not make any sense. It cannot be any
It should not
language.
make sense. Okay.
It's like that's a cleansing. Do it for 15 minutes. I have done it. Don't do it right now.
Okay.
There was an issue at that time. I went to a clinical psychologist. He actually told me to cleanse yourself before sleeping. And he told me to do this when you're just about to get to bed.
It helps, is it? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So आज मुझे याद आ गई. Yeah, it was given to me by a very renowned clinical psychologist. Very, very renowned. It's 5.
If you blabber,
You just flabber. You'll have मतलब keep a towel handy because मेरे तो बहुत spit निकलता था.
Acha.
You're in that rage that it's so powerful that a lot of things. It'll make a lot of sense in your mind because you know what you're trying to release.
Okay. Sure.
But in terms of the the actual sense, there'll be nothing. You cannot use any word, any language. Blank. It is just a bombardment of murmuring.
So it's like letting
The
out your
emotions are there.
negative emotions, and
Yeah,
then
there'll be emotions. When you'll be taking out those, your hands will be working like this. You'll be working with yourself in front of the mirror, making a lot of physical gestures. रोना भी आएगा. मेरे तो मुंह से स्पिट बहुत निकलता है. मैं तो टॉवल रखते था दो यार, इतना वो थूक आई जाता है बार बार. Continuously 5 minutes, 10 minutes और 15 minutes. उसके बाद शांति से आओ, बेड में लेटो, अपना ये मैजिक रॉक करो और सो जाओ.
okay, no confrontation with the person, but just like do it for yourself in the room. Okay.
We are never confronting with anybody because we are only working on ourselves. उसने जो किया
so it's basically all those. Sorry.
Hmm.
So basically, these are all those things that you want to say to the person.
Yeah, but you don't say it to that person.
Yeah.
Could be anything because see, it can be that you directly say it also. She asked me a specific technique. So this is a practiced technique by a renowned trader. I have done it. It's not that I've not done it, but I'm not currently doing it. But yeah, it is a very renowned and effective technique. You can just shout, चीख सकते हो अपने बाथरूम में जाके, full blast music में, जो मर्जी करना करो. Get it out. Yeah, you guys can try this practice. Just today for 5 minutes, go to the bathroom, music laga do, because your voice should not be audible outside. So you can't wear your headphones and do it. You'll have to actually turn on the volume only. So that your whatever is you are murmuring, it should not be heard. It should be just you. Just try it for 5 minutes and then just come sit on your bed. Don't do anything after that. Because once you've cleansed, all you need to do is just get onto your bed, do your magic rock and sleep. Just so jao. That's one. Supriya, we are never confronting.
Okay.
We are never confronting. We are only working on ourselves.
Okay. I thought maybe because when you have some emotions or some negative thought related to somebody, it's always okay to just express it. That's where I find communication being a problem. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि, you know,
that's a very personal thing. You know, if you're
Mhm.
very comfortable in that relationship where the rapport is there, that you can, and you know, there is a normal process of that relation where
Mhm.
it is okay to give feedback and the other person is receptive for that feedback. No harm in that, but depends.
Yeah, but then yeah, even if that is the case, you never know how the person might react. So
वो बड़ा individualistic होता है, but हाँ,
right.
अपने आप पे तो हम काम कर सकते हैं.
ठीक है, thank you.
And what you talked about, another this thing, talking with the higher self and everything, वो भी
Yeah.
एक concept होता है, but then that's altogether a different field of science.
Okay, yeah, because I had heard about it, and I, you know, in my
That's a very,
work, yeah, that you can't speak with the higher self and communicate what you want
you
to
can speak with your higher
communicate.
self, you can speak with your spirit guides. That's all there, but that's part of hypnotherapy and everything.
Right. Okay.
Anything else, guys? Are we good? Anybody has any doubts, any concepts, any clarifications required, any sharings? Thank you so much, guys, for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you so much.
Happy evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Love
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Thank
Good night.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, everyone.